Get this figure at the Chosen Prime, official sponsors of TFCon 2017.
What's going on, gang? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers The Last Knight Leader Class Dragonstorm. Now, Dragonstorm is actually made up of two figures in the style of the Decepticons from the G2 comic book series. On the left here, we have Dronicus, and on the right here, we have Stormrain. Both of them are, well, knights, I guess. The figures are molded in the same color scheme and same style as the dragon figure of, well, the dragon figure that we will not name here because it's so terrible. Dragonicus's helmet is really cool. I love this head sculpt. Plus the red visor inside is just freaking awesome. Stormrain is also in that stupid muddy color that I hate so much, but oh well, not much I could do about that except paint it myself. And again, we also have an equally awesome head sculpt. Just the overall look of this head sculpt is super cool, and there's just this little bit of red peeking through for the eyes. Dragonicus can look down that much, can look up that much, has posable armor and a ball joint in the shoulder, swivel at the upper arm, 90-degree bend at the elbow, no fist articulation. Zero torso articulation due to the transformation. Leg can kick forward that much, leg can kick out that much, thigh swivel, over 90-degree bend at the knee, but it's double hinged because of the way the transformation works, and very, very little in terms of articulation for the ankle, except backwards, and again, for part of the transformation into the dragon mode. He also does have these giant dragon wings folded up on his back. That makes the figure incredibly top-heavy, but thankfully all the joints are nice and tight, even the ball joints, and he has really big dragon heels, so he can stand without any real issue. Even though he can stand just fine, posing him is a challenge because of the size of the wings and the fact that he is so top-heavy. Plus, all the joints are really meant to be used more in dragon mode. I find this to be my favorite pose for him. It's not exactly the best pose, but it's the best pose that I can come up with. Stormrain can look down that much, can look up that much, and he swivels. Again, ball joint in the shoulder, though he does have a tendency to wiggle around due to the way the transformation works. Upper arm swivel, 90-degree bend at the elbow, no fist articulation, no torso articulation. Stormrain can kick forward that much, can kick out that much, thigh swivel, well over 90-degree bend at the knee, little bit of foot articulation thanks to the transformation. Would very much like to see this figure have bigger heels. He has very, very short heels, and he is a little bit top-heavy thanks to this big dragon component here sticking off of his back. It's not too bad, but it would benefit from bigger heels, or I should say longer heels. Of the two figures, I think Stormrain is the weaker in terms of posability. I actually think Stormrain looks cooler as a knight than Dragonicus. Sorry, I just have a really hard time pronouncing that guy's name. The problem with Stormrain is he transforms into pretty much the butt, the middle head, and the tail of the dragon mode. So a lot of his components are meant to move in certain ways, and that does not yield very good posability. It is a very cool looking figure, but not the most posable. I like the overall look of the figures together, even though I don't care for the muddy paint scheme. I would much prefer a different paint scheme, but I could see what Hasbro's going for, and I genuinely do like these figures by themselves. I am going to spoil The Last Knight a little bit. There are 12 knights that show up in that movie, and they all merge together to form the giant three-headed dragon, as opposed to the two dudes we have here. So that's a little weird, but I'm okay with that. Whatever. I mean, it is a Michael Bay movie, so the toys aren't exactly going to reflect what we get in the movie. Moving on to the transformation, we're going to go ahead and start with Stormrain first. First thing we're going to do is come down to the feet, fold the feet up, reach around the back of the right leg, and flip out the tail. We can leave the very tip of the tail in for right now. Then turn the legs so that the shins are pointing to the outside of the figure, and then fold up the left leg, and it will peg into the place where, well, this little tab right here. And that's actually a little bit hard because it's hard to see what you're doing. And then we'll turn the hips about 90 degrees so that the top of the tail is pointing towards the top of the figure. And then just connect them together. Now, I could have screwed that up because I can never remember which way the tail is supposed to go. I think it's supposed to go this way. Next, come to the back of the figure, fold out the chest piece like that, and come to the back here. Oh, there we go. Fold that out like that and snap that into place. Yeah, see, I screwed it up. I have the hips pointing in the wrong direction. And this is actually the hardest part of the transformation, is turning those hips, because these little armor pieces get in the way. But, not that big a deal. Just get everything relined up and then collapse the back part onto the peg at the hip. Once that's done, we can then return to the back of the robot mode. Got a lot of stuff going on here. So first, we're going to come to the right arm, fold up the fist, come to the left arm, open up the front of the forearm, flip the hand in, and that will flip out the dragon head a little bit. Then come back to the back of the head again, and this is where things get a little weird. So we're going to start off by turning the head 180 degrees over the right shoulder, then take the right shoulder, and you'll see it's double hinged. So push it up, and then you have the outer, or I should say the inner part of the right shoulder sitting over the head. Then turn the arm at the upper swivel so that the elbow is pointing towards the inside of the body. Fold that elbow 90 degrees, collapse the armor there on the shoulder, and slide the arm underneath the head joint. Then take that whole shoulder joint and push the right shoulder of the figure down, and it will snap into place inside the dragon body. And then we have what I like to call the first dragon. Now, I realize I just turned the head so that the head is actually pointing incorrectly. You want to have the robot head and area exposed, but I'm doing this for a specific reason, which I will get into after we transform Dronicus. Dronicus' transformation is a little bit more complicated. First, we're going to open up the panels at both forearms, fold the hands up, which will then flip out the dragon heads and close those forearms up again. Then reach down towards the crotch and split the crotch apart, and that will hopefully pull the one panel open. And then we could grab the other panel and open it. Take the head, turn it 180 degrees, and fold it into the body. And you don't have to turn it 180 degrees. In fact, it actually will fit a little better if you don't. Just be wary that the plastic pin here will pop off. And this is the first time I've transformed it and not had the head pop off at the actual joint there. Next, we're going to take the dragon hands and turn them so that they are pointing outwards towards the body. Then turn the dragon heads in towards the middle of the body, and then fold out the arm, the dragon arms, the big old dragon arms, like that. And then we can take the entire section and close it up. Now you might, for those of you who know how this transforms, there's a reason why I'm closing it up. And we can replace the legs or just leave the legs out like that. And then fold out the wings like so. And I like to just fold the legs up again. Then we'll come down to the legs, turn them 180 degrees at the thigh swivel. At the bottom knee joint, pull that forward, and then collapse it back down. It's not easy to show or explain. And then flip the heels up, or what were the toes of the robot mode. The reason I'm doing this is because you actually will end up with two partially transformed dragons here. And I think that's pretty cool. And I think this is actually pretty cool because with a partial transformation, you end up with actual two dragons. You have your more, I guess, snake-like dragon that doesn't have any limbs, and then you have your traditional two-headed dragon with wings. So you get two dragons for the price of one. Now, as cool as this little option is and added play value, I do think we need to get into the full transformation of the dragon mode. So we will start with the, body of the dragon. And that starts with splitting the legs apart fully this time, coming underneath and reopening the chest, and then taking this big old guy and having the butt of the dragon sticking up, and he will attach right into that peg and that peg. But first we want to turn the main dragon head around and then get him all lined up and literally just drop him right into the middle of the bigger dragon. Get everything lined up correctly, pegged into place. Close the chest up like so, and then push the legs in. Now the legs will actually snap onto these little tiny pegs, and getting them lined up is a bit of a pain, and I'm going to tell you right now, they pop off very easily, so just be aware of that. And the real last bit of the transformation, other than making sure everything lines up together, is the legs. I did not have them transformed correctly for that half mode, and I did that on purpose. So for the legs here, kind of pop that away from the body, swing it down, and then peg the white piece into the back of the leg, like so. And that is the finished dragon's leg. One last thing of note when transforming the figure, the elbows of the front dragon legs actually lock into place, so you don't have to worry about very, very loose front legs. Also, the ball joint up here is actually pretty good, so we don't have to worry about any fixes later down the line, at least on my figure. And here we have the final dragon form completed. As you can see, the rear legs and the hunched down look are very bestial. The wings are nice and big and work with the rest of the body. And the heads are very cool. We're going to be doing an up-close look at the heads in a minute. The overall coloring, though, is not something that I'm a fan of. I do not particularly care for the muted browns and all the muted colors. The character in the movie was, let's face it, just a mess of gray. There was no coloring that I can remember on the figure at all. And as I said earlier, this was a character that was made of 13 or 12 or 13 different Transformers that just literally just kind of oozed together after they fell off a hill. I'm not even kidding. They just kind of just walked off a hill and oozed into a dragon. Each of the heads are exactly the same on my figure. They have no eyes. They are black underneath, very soft rubber. I'm okay with that. And this strange orange paint and an orange tongue, a bright orange tongue. Oh, and there is silver underneath, even though in certain light it looks like white. It's just a very, very strange decision in paint, especially considering the one-step change version of Dragonstorm that I have already reviewed was black and red, and this one is definitely not black and red. In Dragon Mode, you can store the weapons. The mace is stored on the back, like that, and then each sword attaches underneath the wing, like this, and like this, and let's face it, having the weapons stored on the dragon like that looks really dumb. Just leave them off in Dragon Mode. There's no point. This Ultimate Dragon Combined Mode does have a few minor issues. The ball joints of the side heads are a little bit on the loose side. Nothing I can't fix. The chest does have some issues pegging into these pegs that are just underneath the dragon arms, so you do have a little bit of floppiness in the dragon heads. Nothing crazy, but I would prefer if they could just, stay pegged in a little better. One other issue I have with the figure is that the plastic peg here that holds the wings together, or I should say this piece that connects to the outer wing and the inner wing, is loose. It really can't hold the weight in certain spots of the wing. Nothing I can't fix with a little bit of pledge or super glue worked into the joint. One other weird thing about this figure is he never really sits correctly. I can never get him to pose or sit well, and that's because the front legs are drastically shorter than the back legs. That was probably just a design decision somewhere along the lines. It's annoying, but I can deal. One thing I absolutely love about the Dragon Mode is that the heads are the perfect size to chomp on some Titans Masters. In the movie, Prime rides the dragon, but as you can see, this is a Voyager-class Megatron from the same movie, and it's just way too big. Voyager-class Prime looks even worse trying to ride him. However, Generations Deluxe Orion Pax works perfectly. Yeah, I think this is a good combination. Overall, Leader Class Dragonstorm is really neat. I like this set a lot. The only real complaint I have is the paint scheme. I would just wish it was painted differently. Black and red would have worked well, maybe some blue, I don't know, maybe some actual colors that don't remind me of poo. That's my biggest complaint about the set. I just think it has bad paint. So customizers, if you're out there and you're watching and you get a hold of this figure, give it a better paint job, please. So gang, thank you very much for watching this video review. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Give me a sub if you loved it. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. As always, I'm Baltmatrix, and I will catch you next time.